Hello everybody.
Hello, good afternoon or morning.
Whenever you're listening. Welcome to Sister Business, episode 6. We're really happy to be here. This week, me and Amy, well, we've had some really good discussions today already that we wish we had the microphone on for.
Yeah.
We've talked about everything today.
Yeah.
From cancerous pans.
Yeah. Teflon.
Teflon, yeah.
Personality types.
Personality types, yes. And the first thing we did today is Amy's been working on, well, what exactly is it that you've been doing?
So it's my second week into a fashion business course. So what I did was apply for, especially she's a brand new coach, and I entered her competition to take part of the course. It's her first time doing it and she wanted some people to kind of go on it, so I was really happy that I won it, and I started it last week. And it's basically, at the minute we're just doing mindset training, but it is fashion business, so it'll essentially take me through, in 12 weeks it'll take me through everything that I need to know to ensure that my business is going to be up and running, and I can follow the steps. So it's really kind of good at the minute, because obviously you know that I'm moving away from the fashion face masks and into clothing.
Yes.
So, well, I had my first meeting last week and it was kind of discussing things about building your visions and getting clear on what it is that you want in your life and your goal. So it did worry me a little bit, because kind of planning ahead so much and thinking, oh my goodness, where do I want to be when I'm like old? So it was good, because what I've been doing is these worksheets, and the first task on it is to basically really visualize what you want and where you want to be in the future. So there's no kind of set in the future, i.e. in 10 years, in 20 years, just in general, like, where do you see yourself in the future?
Okay.
So it took me quite a long time to kind of think of what I wanted and how I'm motivated. So, because I've been floundering a little bit with the business, and I'm one of them people that, because I'm kind of alone quite a lot, I don't do well when I'm alone. I need to be around people to bounce ideas, and so it kind of made me think about what it is that I wanted and what my future looked like. So it was essentially sort of asking, what is your what does success mean to you?
Okay.
And what is it that you want to have, and how do you want to feel? What do you want to achieve?
Right.
So it is quite a big question that I was thinking about. And success for me is, I just want to be happy. I want to be happy. I want to enjoy my days. I don't expect every single day to be like amazing.
Yeah.
But I want to be working on something. I want to feel happy, and I want to live in a nice place where it's nice, cozy, warm. And it made me realise that I really wanted my business to be about me and Matt, and our little family. Yeah, our little family unit. So it was like writing down the steps and visualising it and really seeing it in your head as if it had already happened. Which was interesting, and it kind of makes you think about like what it is that you want, what it smells like, what you can see. So it's really interesting.
Okay. And we did it this morning, didn't we?
Yeah, so we did some of it. Initially what you'll do is you'll write your life goal, and you really visualize it, write it down really like specific.
Maybe we should, if people listening to this feel like this is something that could benefit them.
Yeah.
If you feel like you're not really sure what it is that you want, maybe now is the time to grab yourselves a pen and paper.
Yeah, I would, especially if you're feeling motivated from last week's.
Yeah.
Because that definitely was Georgie was so good.
Yeah.
Really motivating.
It was a really motivating podcast, and we want to just continue with that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we've done the work that we've done today.
Yeah.
So the things Amy's about to say, I think now's a good opportunity to just ask yourselves the same questions.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was skeptic at first. I was sort of a bit doing it, is it gonna work? Is it? But once you actually sit down, like find a quiet space and actually sit down and think about it, like get rid of all distractions, and then you can really see it in your head, and you do get really clear. And then once you've got that, you then break that down. At the minute, I haven't quite got to the point where, because my vision's quite big, we've not got to the point where we're going to break it down. But for the minute, the coach is basically just saying, ignore the how, just write it. And then what we were doing then is sort of the second module that I'm on is about identifying. From that, you'll basically break down into sort of, at the minute we're doing 12 weeks, so it'll be 3 goals for that, one main goal for the 12-week period. So I suppose if you're in business, you could do like a quarter, like a Q1, Q2 goals, and then you would break that down even more, so maybe to the weeks. So you do 3 goals per week,
yes,
and 3 goals per day. And I mean, it's not just this course that I've heard that on. I was listening to a podcast a few weeks ago actually, which basically said the same thing. It could be like, people try and do so many things in a week. They might have 10 things that they want to do, 10 goals, but I think just start at 3 goals, and that seemed manageable for me because I tend to overthink and overwhelm myself.
Okay.
And when you really break it down to 3, I think that really helps.
Yes.
So once we've done that, then we were looking at limited beliefs.
I really like this next one that you're about to talk about. Well, me and Amy did this together actually.
Yeah. And it was fun, wasn't it? It's one of them. It's like, I find it's easier. It helps to talk it out with someone, because when I was just trying to do it on my own last night, I just couldn't. It's hard to sort of think about, like, maybe what you need to do on your own and identifying things.
Yeah.
But this was interesting. So, like, for example, like, your limiting beliefs are what are gonna keep you stuck, and they'll prevent you from reaching your goal.
Yeah.
And I think you do get them every day, and you just don't realise it.
100%. 100%. It's things like insecurities and am I good enough, and can I actually ever do this? And it's just doubts, isn't it? And things that prevent you from actually doing it because they're consuming, aren't they?
Yeah. And I think once you realise that they are keeping you there and you're remaining safe, you're not you're not moving forward.
Yeah. So once you wrote down your limiting beliefs, what did you then do? What were the next steps?
So once you've identified your limiting belief, then you need to find things that support that belief. So once you've kind of done that, you'll find things against the belief, which is going to be a lot easier, I think. And then you look at a balanced perspective.
Right.
So it's sort of, this is my belief. So for example, I don't think I'm good enough to get this done.
Okay.
Then you will support that belief. So for me, because I'm a fashion designer, my supporting belief was that I haven't designed since university, really.
Okay, yeah.
Not clothing anyway. So that supported that. And then against that belief, I talked about, what is good enough and who is good enough.
So it's like challenging limited belief.
Yeah, so you're challenging it basically, and you're finding evidence to go against that belief.
Yes.
So it's sort of like, anyone can do anything that they put their mind to. So then I did a alternative belief, which is more of a balanced perspective. So this is probably what you'll, when you get them limited beliefs, this is what you'll think to counteract it. And it's basically like, so you're thinking you're not good enough to do this, but I can do this, and if I really put in the effort and I really try.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes you feel better. I mean, initially you kind of feel a bit like, these unhelpful negative thoughts are going to bring up some issues, but once you've really sat there, and I found it really hard to support that limiting belief. I found the support was hard. which is good because then you've got all the evidence against it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you the final thing that you come up with is a solution, isn't it, to the limiting belief?
Yeah, so that's your alternative belief basically.
Yeah.
So that when that negative thought does come up, when say you're designing or you're singing or doing whatever,
you have
then
a solution.
You've got your alternative one.
Amazing.
So that was really good.
So anyone who's listening, if you struggle with doubts and you don't take the leap of faith and do the thing that you want to do because of these things that are holding you back, what Amy did, and that was really useful, was to make a list of the beliefs that limit you, you know, the doubts and the insecurities, and then say, okay, well, why do I have these doubts and insecurities? Is it because I don't practice enough?
Yep.
Is it because in the past people have put me down and I haven't surrounded myself with the right support? And then you find your solution. So then it's, okay, well, actually, if I do practice and if I do maybe surround myself with someone who's going to lift me up, my mindset will change and I can do it, and I'll realise that. And
then it sort of takes you through that. Obviously, we're just, you know, I don't want to give too much information because it's not mine to give. But with like the other bits that I went through, it was kind of figuring out what, you know, you look at your strengths and weaknesses, which I really struggled with actually.
Yeah. Well, you did it to me as well this morning.
Yeah.
And Amy asked me, what are your strengths? And then my answers were kind of wishy-washy, and then she told me what my strengths are. And I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But it's easy to do it because I struggled, and obviously you came in and helped me, and I was like, oh, okay, No, I had the questions the completely wrong way round and all sorts.
Yeah, because things that you felt were there was one question, wasn't it, that was like, what is your calling, what is your talent?
So like, what is your gift, like
your gift,
what areas do you feel gifted, what are your talents?
And what you'd written is that you were good at what had you written at first?
I'm able to learn things quite quickly.
And I said, well, that's a strength, but it's not your gift. Like, your gift is your artistry. Your gift is how you find art in everything, in your fashion. And I said, think about growing up, how many different hair colours you had. You had pink hair and then orange hair and then green hair. And
I used to cut my own hair and all sorts. You know.
And Amy didn't even realise that she was constantly expressing herself through art all the time. Like, you look around at her house and she's decorated it, and, you know, in the clothes that she wears, in the tattoos that she has, and the makeup, and she's musical. She plays the piano. She DJs, and I think it took me. It took me coming in and telling her that for her to go, realise, oh yeah, oh okay,
You just don't, do you? I mean, I'm used to doing it for jobs. You know, what are your strengths? Oh, I'm a team worker.
I'm punctual.
Yeah, I'm punctual.
I'll be there on time.
Yeah, I might make it there on time. We'll see how I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that was really good. And then obviously we went through your strengths and your weaknesses, and that kind of led us then, didn't it, to looking at the different personality types. Well,
I've had a great day today doing this.
Well, I initially started it last night, and I was looking at them, and we have a group chat. I don't know, we've probably told you about this, but we have our little...
Oh, that's probably it.
It's probably going now.
Yeah.
We have a group chat, all us sisters and mum. Yeah. And I was just banging them in there. I was like, my God.
She was on a high. I was reading it like, Amy's having a good time tonight. Whatever she's up to, she's having a good time.
And I just found this website that was, what is your personality? And I was just reading about the 16 different personality types.
What is the website called? Because I highly recommend people do this because it's so accurate.
Literally just 16personalities.com. So just put 16 personalities in Google. Okay. And we were just looking at that, and it's all about, you know,
so
the codes, the ESFP, the INI, B, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's actually really interesting, and it lists everything. And because I was just sort of like, I need some strengths and I need some weaknesses. What, you know, I just put like, what are my strengths and weaknesses in Google, and that came up. And it's just so interesting. And
isn't it interesting? Before we took the test, we saw the descriptions of the 16 personalities, and we went, oh, I think I'm probably that.
Yeah.
And we were both actually right.
Yeah, we were.
Well,
I
was right about myself, but Amy said, I said, I think I'm this.
Yeah.
And Amy went, no, you're more that. But that's just so interesting how you read it and you think, oh, actually, and then you take the test and it tells you things about yourself that you didn't even realise.
And it is accurate because we didn't just do it, we tried it on Matt as well.
Yeah.
And Matt's was spot on as well.
Absolutely spot on.
It's really good. And I mean, I was a bit sceptic at first because, like, I got the flipping entertainer personality.
Yeah.
Which...
But we knew you were.
And it's just... I think it's actually good because it shows you your strengths and it shows you your weaknesses.
Yes.
And you can work on the weaknesses.
Yeah.
Because some of mine are completely spot on, conflict averse, easily bored, very poor long-term planners, unfocused.
Okay.
So it's just
and that's what before we took the personality test, we did the strengths and weaknesses form, didn't we?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we came up with. We were talking about, we did it for me, and I said my biggest strength, my calling is, you know, music and singing and theatre and, you know, all of that. But it's also people. And the reason, because you kind of, it has this thing where it just says why. And you answer it and then it says why.
Why. Yeah.
So it's like, why do you want to be a performer? And you answer it. And you might say, I want to make people happy. Why?
Yeah.
That's, you know, and you just constantly challenge
you just
the
keep
ideas.
Going down, and then it kind of gets you to the root of your why.
Yes.
So it's called like your higher purpose. So like, for example, mine would be like, oh, what is important to you? Well, I want to prove to myself that I can really put together a little collection. And I mean, obviously I've already done it with the masks, and that really, you know, really got me back into it, but it feels so much bigger and scarier once you start looking at clothes. So it's like, well, why do you want to do that? And then why do you actually want to do that? Why do you want to why is
and
that
then
important?
you end up and then you end up talking about the rest of your life, and it gets really deep.
It does, but then you kind of get to the root of why, and you find out what your motivator is, so then you can then work on that. So mine sort of went all the way down to proving to myself. I think mine was basically proving to myself that I can do it.
It was.
It was all, I want to prove to myself that I've got the skins. I've got the skins.
You got the skins.
Skills to be disciplined. And then it was funny though, because it's like, compare that with my personality, which is undisciplined and unfocused. It comes together because it's like, that is my future.
It all makes sense.
It makes sense.
And it was the same with me, wasn't it? Mine was my reasons for why.
Yeah.
My strengths were, the reason I perform is because I want to move people and I want to give them an experience. And it's also the reason why I'm so drawn to coaching and helping, and I have such an active role in my friends' lives in like being there, just being like that support. So everything I do is to make other people happy. So it's like my biggest strength is that I'm, you know, that person for others, and I help to lift other people up. But my biggest weakness is also the same thing. It's that I'm such a people pleaser. I don't say no enough, basically. So I put other people's needs before my own, and that's what the personality test said too.
Yeah, it says it here. It's literally, you know, you're a protagonist.
Of course.
ENFJ, and you're tolerant, reliable, charismatic, altruistic, so warm and selfless, and a natural leader. And then your weaknesses are too selfless, too sensitive, you know, struggle to make tough decisions, you know, that kind of thing.
That's
and it's just interesting how it's so... I just love this website.
It's brilliant. And we were looking at, it also tells you like famous people that are the same personality type as you. So mine were a lot of like historical leaders. I had Barack Obama, Oprah.
Don't forget Oprah.
Yeah, me and Oprah are one. I feel very connected to Oprah. But yeah, it was really good to see that what the weaknesses were, because I feel like it directly affects your business and your working life. Because like for you, your weakness is that you don't believe in yourself enough and the confidence. Yeah. It's like, right, well, I'm now going to challenge that.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting. It's really fun.
Who were your famous people?
I'm trying to find... I remember Miley Cyrus.
Oh,
she was on there. And let me have a quick look.
Yeah, you had
Miley Cyrus. There was a lot of actors and singers, and thinking that's why I thought it'd be you.
Yeah.
So Elton John, yeah,
Oh.
there you go, me and Elton John.
Yeah.
Marilyn Monroe, Adele,
Mm.
Steve Irwin, yeah, crikey. Miley Cyrus.
Crikey. There's my Australian accent again for those of you
Crikey.
that enjoyed it.
I do quite like Captain Marvel though, she's an entertainer.
Okay.
But it's just so interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, and then we were finding out who we're compatible with, and it turns out me and Matt are the most compatible.
Yeah, that was a bit weird.
But
And me
Amy-
and Matt are apparently terrible. What
Yeah.
did Matt say? It's something
Very
like,
bad.
Very, very bad.
How long have you guys been together? Like
13 years.
13 years, yeah.
In 16 days.
So,
13 years.
Considering they're a very bad match,
Yeah.
they've overcome many years.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting.
It is. It's really interesting.
So yeah, you guys should take the test. It's called 16 personality.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just great to get to know yourself better, because then you can identify it and you can,
I just think that's so true. Like, because because I've been struggling a little bit, and when I had that vision like a few months ago, and it was like, oh yeah, I really want this family business, and that's kind of gone. And I think that was mainly one of my drivers, and because that had gone, and this has brought me back to it, because I remember thinking like, oh, I can still see this future of me in the studio, but it's just not as meaningful. And then kind of thinking about that and being like, yeah, maybe that vision that I do want is that I want to work with Matt, and I want to have this studio together and do things.
Yes.
I think that makes you reframe it and refocus on why you started it in the beginning.
Yeah.
So that I think that was really interesting to think about them kind of things, because you normally start and you get straight into the theory, don't you? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that was.
And that's
a
it.
good
One of your
takeaway.
things as well was that if you work alone, you're not you don't have the discipline. Like, it's not
No.
in your personality to discipline yourself to just get it done. Whereas maybe that's why the vision of having a family business and having Matt, and I think me and you recently as well have really been driving each other.
Yeah, definitely.
I think this has been so good, sending photos back and forth and having the podcast each week, and I think that's been really helpful for you to
definitely.
use other people's energy and discipline to.
Yeah, and I
really-
think that's what we're obviously lacking at the minute, is that we can't go out and even I think I was telling you last week that for me I don't even need to speak to people. It could just be that I'll go and sit in a pub and be around people, and it's like you absorb their kind of happy energy or something. I don't know, it's just like you go there and you feel renewed, because you're like, my social, like the sim, yeah, my social moodlet or whatever it's called is now
green.
fully green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, but I think in order to figure those things out, you have to know yourself.
Yeah.
And I think doing that test today made us both realise that we knew ourselves in some
do,
ways, but
you work on the weakest areas of yourself, I think. And that was kind of what we originally had planned for today, wasn't it? It was like self-confidence and...
yes. So yeah, we wanted to talk about confidence. We were talking about, actually, something that happened with our little sister. She messaged me the other night saying, Ashten, I'm sad. And I said, why, what's happened? And she said, well, my dance teacher basically put me in the back of the class, put me at the back of the group and said, you're a liability, so stay at the back.
Idiot.
And yeah, awful, disgusting. And we were talking about how that kind of treatment in a teaching establishment, there are some people that the tough love method, it works because they're thick-skinned and they respond well, but other people who are sensitive, is so damaging.
It is.
And things like that will stay with a person. We were talking about things that have been said to us years ago that we still remember now.
Literally, like, from the age of 13, I can see it in my head. Like, you just see the whole scenario.
Yes.
And it's not nice.
100%. And basically, the way to overcome comments like that, because it happens.
Yeah.
People often, if they're in a position of power, their words and the things that they say, they can be life-changing, and they can say things that will stick with you throughout your career. And the way to overcome that is literally just all about self-belief and removing the power from their words and remembering, you know, for Em, she needs to go into that dance studio and stand at the front of the class and say, I deserve to be at the front. I'm not going to be silenced and put to the back and told I'm a liability. No way.
Seriously, if I can get my hands on him. Said to Em, I'll write a very strongly worded letter to the university for her.
It's terrible, but the sad reality is it happens so often in so many different industries, particularly I see it a lot in my industry.
Yeah, creative industries is because it's just so subjective. We were saying, weren't we? It's like, you know, what you think is amazing, someone else could look at it and think, what the hell is that? Like, or like 100%. You were saying about sometimes you get comments on your songs.
Yeah, I've had people comment on my singing and say, I wish you'd sang that song differently. I didn't like the way you sang it. Or, you know, just people not enjoying my voice, not enjoying my singing, which it makes sense because it's a subjective thing. Not everyone likes rock music. Not everyone likes, you know, floral fashion. Like, everyone has a different opinion. And I think if you know yourself, and linking back to the personality test, if you know who you are and you know your strengths, that's enough.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. But it did open up an interesting conversation about about comments and about how you need to have that underlying belief.
Yeah, maybe we can talk about that next week. Like follow it on a little bit.
I think that would be good.
I think that would be a good thing because maybe you could talk about it in your industry. I mean, we did touch on it a few weeks ago, I think, but we never really sort of went into detail. So we could maybe look at that, and you could maybe come up with a few tips for your industry of like overcoming it.
Definitely, that
and how
would be
to work
so
through
good.
it. And then I'll do the same for mine, because mine literally will cover art of every type because I've studied every it'll look at like photography and graphics and fashion, textiles, just anything really.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really important thing to talk about. But I've loved taking that personality test today.
It's so fun. I'm probably going to keep reading it and then reading everybody else's so I'll learn more about them.
Yeah, and there was something you said about me today that I didn't expect when you said to me, what are your strengths? And I sat there for ages like, And you said, well, you're very brave.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? And you were like, well, you go up on stage and you just sing and everyone watches you. And for me, that's like my job. That's normal.
But like, I couldn't do that, you know. I need years and years of like building the confidence to get there. Yeah. And like how you just went and worked on the ships, like, you know, you've got to be brave to give up your life and just, you know, go onto this ship. Yeah. So I think it does take talking it out with someone who knows you well. Yeah.
Because I would never have said brave. Yeah. For me, it's just what I do. I just always don't even give it a second thought, really.
But it's like that with me with creativity. It's like I've thought, oh, maybe it's just the things that I can pick things up quite fast and learn things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought I'm creative just by, you know, doing my hair when I was younger and, you know, sorting my environment out to look nice. You don't think of things like that.
That's it. So maybe a good idea is to do the test with someone who knows you really well. Yeah. And have them say what your strengths are and what they potentially think your weaknesses might be as well.
Yeah. I think it just helps in every part of the life, not just necessarily the business, but your actual, you know, life. Yeah. Daily, day-to-day, normal everyday life. So
just before we finish, what's the name of the woman whose course you're taking?
She's called Jane McMillan.
Okay.
So what I would do is have a chat with her as well, just sort of let her know what's going on.
Yeah, fab. And those worksheets you've been working through are really, really good.
Yeah, it seems really interesting. So janemcmillan.com's the website.
Okay, fab.
Yeah.
Right, well, I think that nicely concludes our podcast. I think,
I think so,
yeah. We've come to 30 minutes, nice and on the nose.
Yep.
So I think we'll finish it there. But, we hope you've enjoyed listening. And, go away and do the personality test, guys. It's so fun and so interesting.
Definitely.
And we're going to be here next week, and we're going to talk
talk
about confidence and about tips in believing in yourself, overcoming challenges, and all those things that tie in with that. So
sounds good.
Yeah,
I'll give you an update on the course.
yeah, definitely. Amy now has a 12-week plan. She is going to be designing 3 pieces out of a collection in the next 12 weeks, fashion pieces.
Yep, so 3 outfits should be good. So
that's really cool.
I'm literally going to put all that into place, and like you said, that'll be my 12 week, and then I'll work back. So I'll do my three goals per week, 3 goals per day. So I'm still figuring that out.
Okay, yeah. But I think the 12-week plan is really cool.
Yeah, I'm excited, and I think it'll give me some focus, because I just lack focus. And giving, having that something to work towards that links in with the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Is really exciting.
Definitely, yeah. Cool. All right, guys. Well, we'd love to hear your answers to these questions, and we'd love for you to, go away and ask yourselves, what is my personality driver?
Yeah.
And what is my, I can't think of the exact words that
Your sort of higher purpose.
That was it. Higher purpose.
And don't forget those limiting beliefs.
Challenge your limiting beliefs, people.
Yep.
Challenge them.
Get your CBT book out.
Yeah. And we hope that you've taken something from this. We definitely have.
Yeah.
It's been a really, really productive day, and we hope to carry it on into the week. So. Stay tuned, guys, for our next episode.
Yeah, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.